What did the judge say about how he reached that determination?
Well, the judge gave a very lengthy statement about the factors that he considered when he was handing down that sentence. And among those were the age and the state of health of the Cardinal. He's 77 years old. He has a heart condition. The judge said he did take those into account. He also considered the nature of the offences, which he said were at the serious end. He rejected the Cardinal's counsel description of those as not being serious. He said they in fact were. He also considered the Cardinal's lack of remorse. Now, he pleaded not guilty. He still maintains his innocence, and he has lodged an appeal which will be heard in June. But the judge said because he hadn't pleaded guilty, there was no capacity to lessen his sentence for remorse. He also talked about the saturation coverage that these offences had received, the humiliation that comes with that, and the likely difficult time the Cardinal will have in prison, and also the time that's passed since the offences, 22 years, and he's been obviously free since then. And he said has also been of good character with no evidence that he's offended any other time.
As you mentioned, Cardinal George Pell denies these crimes still. What did the judge say about the offences themselves? Just give us a little bit more scope about what these crimes involve.
Well, as you said, he called them breathtakingly arrogant. He said they were also staggeringly arrogant, brazen. He said one in particular had a very nasty element to them. And he talked about the abuse of power and the use of authority, that the Cardinal at the time was Archbishop of Melbourne, that he clearly had a position of great power and authority over the choir boys in the church, and that he engaged in this behaviour believing that he wouldn't be caught, that they wouldn't tell, that no one would believe them, and assuming that even if someone had walked in on him, that he would have been able to explain it away and manage the situation. So there was a very strong condemnation of that attitude from the judge.
The judge also said that the high-profile nature of this case was taken into account when sentencing him. Just talk to us about the impact that this case has had on Australia. We know it's had a lot of coverage abroad as well, but how has it impacted the country, and what kind of debates have you heard?
Well, it's a terrible trauma for the Catholic Church, but it's been the subject of widespread debate in Australia. As we know now, it was the subject of a suppression order, a very hefty suppression order. So the conviction actually took place in December, but this wasn't made public until just a couple of weeks ago. The Cardinal's been in prison since then, but there's been widespread debate in Australia about this. In fact, the judge made a specific comment today saying you have to bear in mind the Catholic Church has not been convicted here. One man has been convicted, and this was not the Catholic Church on trial. And he also said to victims of other sexual offences, this is not a vindication of what happened to you at the hands of other people. This was the rule of law being applied in relation to one man and a series of offences in this case.
The judge also made some comments directly to the public at large. What did he say?
He was very disgusted at what he said had become a witch hunt and a lynch mob mentality. Obviously, the case, since it's become public, has attracted a lot of attention even outside the court and people in the court. He was very unhappy about the way people had hurled abuse at the Cardinal and at others associated with the case, and he really warned people to get their emotions in check, that this was a matter of law, that the law needed to be seen to be done. He advocated in favour of the broadcast of this sentence for that very reason, to make sure that it was transparent and people could see the law at work, that they needed the law to work and to behave appropriately and not be hurling abuse outside.